What's up, everybody? My name is Del. This is Del on Movies. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. And today we're going to go through everything I have in my superhero collection that is movies and TV shows. So just off camera, which you can't see behind me and next to me, as I've got stacks and stacks of DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks. And we're going to get into all of it. I do want to give a shout out to my guy Troy over at the Comic Book Movie Collector's Guide. He was the inspiration for this video. He does it every year with his collection, and he's got way more than I have. So definitely go check out his collection and his channel. It is fantastic. Robert Nero, superhero, also has an outstanding collection. He did one of these videos not long ago. I promised mine months ago, and I've had some technical difficulties getting it out, but now I'm going to finally get it accomplished, at least the way I want to. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. I'm going to have a counter down in the corner down here or there or somewhere. And I'm just going to keep track of how many I have. And because I've never really done that, so I'm going to keep track of that. And just a note on how I'm counting it. Every movie is one that includes those that are in double features or box sets together. So for instance, if I have, you'll see I have a trilogy in one DVD set. Those will count as three because it's three different movies. TV series, however, will only count as one no matter how many seasons there are. So because there are a couple I have like one season or half a season or something like that, and you'll see. But as far as the TV series, I'm not counting season 1 as one, season 2, I'm not doing that. So that's how I count it. The other note is I'm going alphabetical by character, not by company. So I'm not separating DC and Marvel. Just too much work for me right now. So I'm just going to get into it. Let's get started. One other note, I am including everything that started from a comic book, a manga, or a graphic novel, or an equivalent, because there are a couple here that came from just comic strips. So I'm counting all of those. So rest assured that if I show it, it did come from one of those sources, even though you might not think so. And you can look it up on your own. I'm just going to get through this quickly as I can. First up is Two Guns. This is the Denzel Washington, Mark Wahlberg action flick. Not a lot of people know that this did come from, I believe it was a graphic novel. A fun action movie, not the greatest thing in the world, but I did enjoy it. Next is a vampire movie. This one is 30 Days of Night, one of my favorite vampire movies of all time. A lot of fellow YouTubers are doing top 10 vampire lists. I am going to do one, but it's probably going to be during spooky season when I get there. But check out 30 Days of Night if you have a chance. Next is, that's the back of it. Here's the front of it. Here's 300, also pretty famously known to come from a graphic novel. And this is another very fun action movie. Really, this is Zack Snyder probably at or near his peak with all the super slow-mo. They followed that up, of course. He didn't follow it up, but there was a sequel. There was 300 Rise of an Empire. Not as good, not nearly as good actually. I didn't care for it a whole lot, but it is part of the franchise. Next up is a blaxploitation era movie, A-Bar Black Superman. A-Bar, the first Black Superman. It doesn't say the first here. This one's still in plastic, but I have seen this movie. Really interesting movie. Does make some social commentary. Check it out if you have a chance. Next is going to be Duplicates, and yes, I am counting Duplicates as separate titles because they're not really duplicates, but different editions. So it is a duplicate, same title, but not the same edition. So I am counting that because I did have to spend hard-earned money on that. And this first one is a DVD 10 set of Akira, and I've never actually seen this particular version, this edition of it. I bought it because I found it for $1, and it's the DVD inside is in pristine condition, but I've never played it, and I probably never will, and that's because I have Akira on 4K. And honestly, now here's the funny part about having Akira on 4K is I've never actually played this version, because when I saw it on Blu-ray. I don't have the Blu-ray anymore, but it is a classic anime. So if you're into anime at all and you've not seen Akira, definitely see that. This one is Alita Battle Angel. I saw this in theaters. I have not watched this edition. I haven't watched it on 4K since I bought it, but I did see it in theaters. So I am, and I had a good time with that one. Next is a movie that is really more based on a comic book creator, but the style of the movie is very, very much like a comic book, and it's also a very meta film. I really enjoy. This is American Splendor with Paul Giamatti, who is fantastic in the role. And we get it's based on Harvey Pekar is the guy who he's playing, who created the comic book American Splendor, and the real Harvey Pekar and his wife appear in the movie. Very fun movie. Next up, we get into the more traditional superhero movies for a little while. We have Ant-Man right here. And we got Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then we have Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. For my money, Ant-Man is probably the weakest of the sub-trilogies or sub-franchises within the MCU. Ant-Man is probably the weakest, though I really do like the first one. I even like the second one. Quantumania was complete garbage, if you ask me, but I still got to get it, right? Only if you're crazy like me. Next is we have Aquaman, the complete series, the Adventures of Aquaman, the complete collection to be accurate. Found this at Big Lots for like $6. I don't think this is on Blu-ray yet. At least I have not come across it anywhere. More Aquaman here, of course. We got Lego DC Superheroes Aquaman Rage of Atlantis. I have not seen this one yet. The Aquaman series, actually I haven't seen any of that either. I have seen this, of course. This was the first Aquaman movie with Jason Momoa, and I really enjoyed this one. One of my favorite DC movies, and not one of my favorite DC movies is the sequel here, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. See how much I didn't like it. I didn't even bother remembering the title correctly. Jason Momoa is definitely Aquaman. He's a great actor for the role, but that movie just didn't work. Next is Atomic Blonde. So yeah, another movie that is more known as an action movie, but is based on a graphic novel, and it was one of my favorite action movies of the year. It came out, which I want to say is 2017. I'm just going off the top of my head here, not really sure, but Charlize Theron action movie. I'm there. Next is this one is the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers, and the finale. So this was here, Volume 6, End of the Cosmos. So yeah, there's a long title for me to remember. I think I might have seen 1 or 2 episodes of this. I've never really watched this series, and this was actually a gift for me. At a job I used to have years ago, someone asked, "Hey, what do you like? What do you like?" And I said, "I like movies." "What kind of movies?" "Superhero movies." And they came up with this one. I'll take it. So next up is one I bought myself, of course, and this one is Avengers Confidential, Black Widow and Punisher. And this one is pretty fun movie to watch. We get to see those two characters not usually spotlighted in a lot of Marvel fare, especially animated fare. So I'm glad to see that they were front and center here. Had a good time with that. Here is the Ultimate Avengers movie collection. So we have Ultimate Avengers and Ultimate Avengers 2, and then we have Next Avengers, Heroes of Tomorrow, which I believe are kids. I don't think I've seen any of these, to be honest with you. I used to see them on the shelves all the time when I worked at Blockbuster, at least the first 2 up here. But I never watched it for some reason. I'm not sure why, so I definitely have to get on that. Next up is a movie I've seen probably a dozen times, and I've had it on different formats and different things, but I finally got it on 4K, and this is The Avengers. This is the Mondo Steelbook with Loki on it. It's pretty gorgeous steelbook, and I just gotta take that slipcover off and show that again, then I'm gonna put it back. Next movie is Avengers Age of Ultron, and big shout out to my guy, Big Chris from Floyd House Flicks. He sold me this one for a really cheap price. And here's one I got not so cheap because I bought it from Best Buy back in the day. This is Avengers Infinity War, another steelbook. So all of the Avengers movies, including this very next one and last one, Endgame, I do have on 4K steelbook. So that's cool. Next, we got things a little bit out of order, but that's okay. We have two more movies on a single edition here. We have Aliens vs. Predator and Aliens vs. Predator Requiem. Neither Aliens itself, or Predator started as a comic book, but the two of them came together in comic book form first, and then the movies started popping up after the popularity of those. I've seen the first one. I don't think I've seen the second one. The first one is one of those kind of so bad it's awesome kind of deals, so I like it. And next is a movie that is much maligned, but I find fun, Barbed Wire with Pamela Anderson. And for those in the know, you know that this story is, it functions as a remake of Casablanca, so go think about that. Next is a movie from closer to when Casablanca came out. Not that came out in the 40s. This came out in the 60s, and it's being remade, I just found out. But this is Barbarella, and of course this is this gorgeous Arrow set that I got a few months back. And now we are moving on into the character who I have more of than any. And I'm not even going to say anything because I'm looking over at the stack that's right next to me. And if you know me at all, you probably know exactly the character I'm talking about. But let's kill the suspense, guys. Let's just get right to it. We're talking about first Batman, and this one is the complete 1943 serial. And that is followed up with Batman and Robin, the complete 1949 serial. I have not seen this one. I have seen the 43. I have not seen the 49. I do need to watch that. Very different experience with Batman back then, especially since the 43 one was really a lot of World War II propaganda. Batman the movie, this was a 1966 Adam West film, and I love this movie. It's just so full of camp and double entendre, and of course that was a movie made because of this, which was the series Batman, which of course starred Adam West and Burt Ward. And I've seen every episode of this at some point in my life, and it's about time for a rewatch of the whole series. But yeah, this is my childhood right here. And then I got a nice little, I guess you would call it a cap to my childhood, when many years later Adam West returned to the role. Burt Ward, keeps saying Ben, but when they did Return to the Batcave, which was a TV movie in the 90s, I think. But yeah, really had a fun time with this. Haven't seen it in a long time, so I gotta watch it again. And of course, Batman has permeated pop culture, so you know that there was Scooby-Doo Meets Batman. This was also in the 70s. And then we had TV series. I mean, we've got The Adventures of Batman, this animated series here. This was either the first or the second one. Matter of fact, I think it was the second one. There's one more I know that's coming out on Blu-ray that I'm gonna get soon. Haven't seen any of that in a long time, since I was a kid. One I haven't seen in a long time, but I do rewatch occasionally, an episode or two, is the classic, the iconic Batman the Animated Series. Had to have that. Is Batman Beyond, the complete series. I've seen episodes here and there, but never sat and watched all of them. Same goes for this next series, The Batman, the complete series. I think I've only maybe seen 1 or 2 episodes of this, even though I've owned it now for probably a year. So looking forward to getting back to that. And of course, during that Batman the Animated Series time, there was these movies that came out. Well, this one was from Batman and Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero, and then Batman Beyond, the movie. Batman and Mr. Freeze is fantastic. I haven't seen the original Batman Beyond the movie, but I have seen Batman Beyond the Return of the Joker. Very fun movie. I need the Blu-ray of this, or to see the uncut version. I'm not sure if there's a Blu-ray of this, because I know there were some cuts to this one and one other one, but I do need to check it out. The other one that I know that there's cuts to that I need to get is the Batman versus Dracula. So I have seen this, and it can get graphic in a couple places here, but yeah, the Batman takes on Dracula. Next is we have the Batman Superman movie. We have a Batman Unlimited double feature, and Unlimited Animal Instinct and Monster Mayhem. Scooby-Doo, this time Scooby-Doo and Batman, The Brave and the Bold. So it's much more comic tinged. For some reason, I don't think they ever released a Blu-ray of this, and this just came out within the last 5-6 years, so I'm not sure why they didn't get a Blu-ray. To continue on with the Batman animated stuff, and there's a lot more here actually, guys. This is the Batman 80th Anniversary Film Collection, 18 film collection. There are 18 movies here, so you're counting it 18 down here on the counter. I actually had almost all of these individually before I picked this up and sold those. And here, if you want to pause and take a look and see what the movies are on this set, you can go for it there. One of them is Batman Under the Red Hood, and the reason I mentioned that one specifically is because of this next movie here, which is Batman Death in the Family. And this one is an interactive movie which takes the plot of the Red Hood and basically gives you various points where you can make a decision on what happens next. I really didn't care for it much, but you know, it is what it is. Continuing on with more animated stuff, we have Batman the Doom That Came to Gotham. We have Batman Hush. Batman Ninja. A lot of people don't like this one. I love this one. The anime style is a very anime inspired movie. The styling, the artistic art in this movie, the artistic styling of this movie are really good, and I really do enjoy the story. We have Batman The Long Halloween Part 1 and Part 2, and if you put them together, we get a cool picture. Batman Soul of the Dragon, very much inspired by 70s martial arts movies, particularly Enter the Dragon. There's a character in there who's pretty much Bruce Lee, and another character who's pretty much Jim Kelly, and leaving Batman almost in the John Saxon role. Not quite, because he's still Batman. Then we have Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a little more serious than the this Batman Scooby-Doo movies. Batman versus Two-Face, which was actually, I believe this one was one that starred, Adam West and Burt Ward. They returned for this one, and they returned for another one, Return of the Cape Crusader, which is on that 18 film set. Then we have Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons. More Lego Batman, and this time not the Lego Batman movie, but Lego Batman the movie, and this DC Superheroes Unite. And now we do have the Lego Batman movie. Here it is on a regular Blu-ray. Here it is on the Blu-ray Steelbook. Shout out to my man Ryan, Movies with Ryan. He sent me this. And this I found on my own, another version of the Lego Batman movie. This is the Lunchbox, which has the movie in it, as you can see here, Blu-ray, DVD, and digital HD. Let's pop it open. Here's the Lunchbox, and it has a cape. And inside it has the movie. Of course, I had to have the classic Batman movies, and this is the 1989-1997 Steelbook set, and it, of course, it has these 4 films right here. I'm just gonna pull them out individually so you can see. There's Batman 89. Next one, of course, is Batman for Returns. A lot of people's favorite, actually. Even though Batman 89, I think, just edges it out. Batman Forever. And finally, the iconic, wink, wink, nod, nod, Batman and Robin. And then, of course, those led to Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. How? This is the only one I have a slipcover of, even though I'm not a slipcover guy. Weird. Tell that story another time. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. I don't like this movie, but it's Batman, so I have this movie. And The Batman, which I do really like. I do really like The Batman, so I had to have this one. Finally, out of the Batman section of the video, and we're going to continue on with Big Hero 6 and Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. And a lot of people might think this is not a superhero movie, but Birdman is actually a superhero and does appear in the movie quite often. Though it is a very different superhero movie from anything Michael Keaton has done, and just about any other superhero movie, excuse me. Here is Birds of Prey, the complete TV series. I've never seen any of this, but it was on sale. I got it for like $6, $5, $6. So had to get that. I have seen, of course, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. I do love this movie. I do not love this one, Black Adam. Here's one most of you have never heard of, The Black Ninja. One you have heard of the character, but maybe not this. This is Black Panther, the motion comic. Here is that was the back, which I like better, but this is the front, Black Panther. This is the first 4K and, of course, first 4K steelbook that I ever purchased. So I may keep this, even though I've got my eye on the Walmart Black Panther, which is pretty gorgeous. So stay tuned, I guess, next year to see if that actually happened. I did get the sequel, of course. There's Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and a movie almost none of you have heard of, and even fewer of you have seen, Black Superman, starring Master P. I'm gonna finish out all the black superheroes with Black Widow. But we do have a black superhero. We have the Blade trilogy, Blade, Blade 2, and Blade Trinity. Blade 2 is my favorite of the bunch, and also another one of my favorite vampire movies of all time. Blade 2 is amazing. Blade Trinity is trash. Blank Man, another black superhero, and I love this movie. It's just hilarious. I did a video, I want to say 6 months to a year ago, probably a year ago now, where I ranked all the black superhero movies ever made. You can check that out. I'll put a card up here somewhere so you can check that video out. Let's continue on, and we have Blue Beetle and Brightburn, super villain movie. Bulletproof Monk, a lot of you probably never knew that this is a comic book property, or I want to say, was it a manga? I'm not sure. I have to look it up myself. Captain America from the 70s. This was the TV series and the movies that were made from the TV series, and they're hilariously bad. Also hilariously bad, Captain America from 1990. This was a movie they made in 1990, and this was the rubber suit with the rubber ears. And we finally got some decent stuff going with Captain America, the First Avenger, and Captain America, the Winter Soldier, one of my very favorite MCU movies, and Captain America Civil War, also awesome. Probably the strongest of the sub franchises within the MCU is the Captain America trilogy, and then we have Captain Marvel. Of course, I had to have that. Another Captain, Captain Underpants, and in his first epic movie. Very fun movie. Very fun movie. Also fun, but for a different reason because it's so terrible. Catwoman. One thing I don't like about this edition is there's nothing on the spine. And I don't know. I mean, there's the Blu-ray logo and the Warner Brothers logo. Why there's no title here, I have no clue. It's always bothered me. I did actually get this copy for $1, but it is legit. I've seen other copies from the stores. I got it at a pawn shop, but it is legit. I've seen other copies that were actually bought at real stores that didn't have the title on there. So if anybody knows what happened there, let me know. More Catwoman here, a little bit better. Catwoman Hunted. This came out, I think, I want to say 2 years ago, but this is pretty solid. Chronicle. Chronicle is very, very fun movie. Found footage superhero movie. Comic Book the Movie. I included this one because it is really about a bunch of guys going to a Comic-Con, and it's not a great movie, but it's fun, and it was directed by none other than Mark Hamill, aka Luke Skywalker, or for our purposes here today, Joker of many, many Batman animated movies and shows. And from a graphic novel, of course, we have these two movies here, Conan the Complete Quest. This is Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. I did not manage to get that 4K set that came out a few months back. Maybe I might look up into that one of these days. We'll see. We have the remake to Conan the Barbarian. I think this was 2011, and was this Jason Momoa? I want to say this was, but it was not. There's a lot of action. If you want to see a lot of action, go for it. Otherwise, it's not really good. The story is terrible. Underrated superhero movie here, Constantine with Keanu Reeves. And then that character we have more of. We have Constantine City of Demons, the movie. And Constantine, the House of Mystery. Of course, I recently picked up this handy dandy steelbook, The Crow. And of course, that's the plastic cover over it, and that's with it off of it. This is the Walmart exclusive, and it is gorgeous. Haven't had a chance to watch the actual movie inside of it yet, but I have seen that movie several times. Really good movie. Next is Daredevil, the director's cut, much better than the theatrical cut. Also a little bit longer, probably about 30-40 minutes longer, but still worth it, I think, in my opinion. And then there's Daredevil, the Netflix show. This is only season 1, and this is the only one I have. And there's Darkman. There's a trilogy of these movies, but as of right now, this is the only one that I have. And it is, I love this movie also. Great movie. Sam Raimi directed. We have here Deadpool and Deadpool 2. This is also a steelbook with one of those fancy smancy covers. Well, kind of sort of fancy smancy. But anyway, looking forward to Deadpool 3, or Deadpool and Wolverine as they're calling it. We'll see that in a couple months. Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons. Yep, good stuff there. Dick Tracy. Very fun movie. Needs a 4K because all the colors in here would just pop on 4K for sure. Doctor Strange, the animated movie. And that brings me to this guy, Doctor Strange, and it's a weird looking, that looks kind of funky, but I felt it around before I bought it. This is the Doctor Strange Mono Steelbook. I actually just got this. So let's go ahead and we're going to do a very quick unboxing on this and see what it looks like, because I have no idea really. I've seen the cover, but I don't know what it looks like. Got the plastic off, and like I said, this J card looks kind of messed up. I felt it around before I picked it up because the other one, there was 2 copies they had at the store that I was in, and the other one had loose discs rolling around inside. This did not, but I made sure I saw if there were dents up here. There are not, so it does look pretty good. That guy goes away, and let's take off this plastic cover here. Pretty much the same, but it's good looking stuff. We just changed the color on the lettering right here. And there it is inside with the disc, popping those out. Here's the inside without the disc. Nice artwork. And there's the back. So we got a complete picture actually. Very nice. I did have that movie on Blu-ray, so that's going to take the place of the Blu-ray. And of course there's the sequel, which I already had on 4K. This was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I think I liked it more than most people. Dread. I do not have the Sylvester Stallone OG Judge Dredd. I need to get that. Here's Elektra. Then there's the Eternals. Fantastic Four. This is the Roger Corman one, and yep, this is bootleg. This is the Roger Corman produced movie. That there's a long, interesting story behind this movie. So check out Doomed, which is a documentary about it, and learn about all the things that they went through to get that movie made and why it never actually got to theaters. Here's Fantastic Four that did get to theaters. Tim Story directed, and that was only okay, but far better than Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, which was bad, but far better than Fan-Four-Stick. You know, hopefully when Marvel puts out their Fantastic Four movie, it will be much better. We'll see. Here's Fast Color. She is a superpowered being. Very good movie. A little slow for a lot of comic book fans though. Here's The Flash, the TV series from, I believe, 1990. The Blu-ray either just came out or was just announced. I think I'm going to get my hands on that at some point. But for right now, this will do. And here is The Flash movie that came out last year. Not very good. Going back, so I don't have The Flash, the CW series. The CW series, I don't have that, any of those yet. Here's Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe. This is a serial, I believe, from the 40s. And I have not seen any of this yet. Found this for a dollar though. So I was very pleased to get that. And this was at a pawn shop a couple years ago. There's Flash Gordon, the movie, on Blu-ray. And I missed out on that 4K. So, you know, maybe one of these days I'll look up into that. Freedom Fighters, The Ray. Friday Foster, which is a Pam Grier movie from the 70s, and this one is based on a comic strip, so I had to include it. And it's Pam Grier. Why wouldn't you include anything Pam Grier? Here's Ghost Rider, Nicolas Cage, the first one, and Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, the inferior second one, even though the first one was only okay. And here is another classic anime, Ghost in the Shell. I did not see that. I have not seen this yet. I'm gonna watch this really soon. I have seen the live action version of it with Scarlett Johansson, which I didn't care for, but I am looking forward to this. And then there is Edge of Tomorrow. So I got all out of order here. Missed this one, but Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, and this is fantastic sci-fi, fantastic action. So I really love this movie. We have G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, G.I. Joe: Retaliation. Didn't care for as much, and the first one was only okay. I do not have the Snake Eyes movie. Haven't seen it yet either. Heard it's bad. The Green Hornet, which wasn't great either, but I had fun with it. I do not have any of the Green Hornet serials or TV series from back in the day. I do want to get those. Here is Green Lantern. Let's move this one over a little bit away from the light. And this was the Ryan Reynolds much maligned movie, and yeah, it's bad. And much better are these other things I have for Green Lantern. There's Green Lantern, the complete animated series. Green Lantern First Flight. Green Lantern Emerald Knights. Green Lantern, Beware My Power. The first Green Lantern movie to feature Jonathan Stewart. So definitely had to have that one. Guardians, I found this at Big Lots, have not watched this yet. It is not to be confused with Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The best of the franchise, if you ask me. Underrated movie here, Hancock. And that's because the third act is pretty rough. That's the reason why. And here, a graphic novel that I would sneak and look at as a kid, or this came from a graphic novel that I would sneak and look at as a kid, and then watch the movie as a kid when it came out, and loved it. It had its cartoon, lots and lots of nudity and violence, though, and that is Heavy Metal. But also included on here is the sequel, Heavy Metal 2000, which I've never seen. So I definitely got to watch both of those because it's been a while since I've seen Heavy Metal, actually. Hellboy animated. This is Sword of Storms and Blood and Iron. Yep, had to take a look to remind myself. I haven't watched either of those. I haven't watched either of those. Then there's the Hellboy live action. A very good movie. And Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, also not bad. And this one, yeah, there we go. We get the nice lenticular on the front of that. And then there's the terrible Hellboy remake from a few years back, which had David Arbor in it. This is Hercules Steelbook. Now, Hercules, the character, did not originate as a comic book character, but the story that they're telling here did. And of course, as you can see, it stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. It's actually not very good. It's another one I'm saying not very good. I'm on a stretch of that lately. But it is a steelbook that I found for $3. So couldn't pass it up. Howard the Duck, speaking of not very good. Here's something that I grew up on and had to reach over with both hands because this thing is pretty hefty. And this is The Incredible Hulk, the complete series. This is a massive DVD set, 5-disc. Yeah, 5 discs in here. I know they put out a Blu-ray, I think 2 years ago. I did not grab. Maybe I might change it. Coming from that series, though, we have these two movies here. We have The Incredible Hulk Returns and The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, which includes actually go back to this movie. That's Thor right there, believe it or not. And more Hulk stuff. We have The Incredible Hulk. This is a movie here, animated movie here. Then we have Ang Lee's Hulk. And of course the MCU's The Incredible Hulk. Planet Hulk. Hulk versus. This includes Hulk versus Thor and Hulk versus Wolverine. A couple more that I got out of order. If you're wondering why, it's because some of these movies I actually keep in a different section in my actual collection. So they're kind of getting missed over until I look at them and go, oh yeah, that one. And that would include another anime, Fist of the North Star. And I have seen this one. Fantastic movie. Animation is a bit dated, but it is fun. And then there's From Hell, from a graphic novel. This is a take on Jack the Ripper, the Jack the Ripper story. Directed by the Hughes brothers, who also directed Menace to Society and Dead Presidents. So check that out if you're interested in some of their work that's not hood related. Then we have The Incredibles and The Incredibles 2. I love both movies, and a lot of people like both movies but hate this particular steelbook, and I don't know why. I like this steelbook. We got more Hulk, but he's this time with Iron Man. Iron Man and Hulk, and this one is Heroes United. And that just takes us right into Iron Man. Iron Man Rise of Technovore. Iron Man Extremis and Agent of S.W.O.R.D. Spider-Woman. The Invincible Iron Man. And then that takes us to the live action Iron Man, the OG with Robert Downey Jr. That was a 4K. Here's the Blu-ray version of that same movie, but this one is the cool Iron Man mask. And just to pull it out, and that part just pop completely off. But here's the mask. Very cool. And the Blu-rays movies are inside. Speaking of a special edition, here is an Iron Man 2 metal pack, not a steelbook, metal pack, and this has a lenticular on it. You'll see, yeah, got a little action going there. And this one you can't really see. It's 17,528 out of 30,000, so I don't know how limited that is, but I'll take it. At the time I bought it, it was going for like 70 bucks on eBay, and I got it for $3. And another pawn shop deal here. I don't know what it's going for now. I want to say 30, 40 bucks. Then there's Iron Man 2 in 4K. Iron Man 3. And a little bit out of order again. We have Itchy the Killer. I am really planning on ordering a Blu-ray of this pretty soon, so that's going to be upgraded next time I do this. Jonah Hex, possibly the worst superhero movie I have, and the worst Western at the same time. So it's pretty bad. Joker, which is awesome. And now we start with our Justice League movies, and this one is not actually called Justice League. This one is called DC Comics Superheroes, The Filmation Adventures. And yeah, it's basically Justice League. Then we have Justice League, a animated movie based on that version of the series. Justice League Gods and Monsters. Justice League Justice on Trial. Justice League Star-Crossed, the movie. JLA Adventures, Trapped in Time. Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. Justice League Throne of Atlantis. I could have put this in with Aquaman because it's really about him. Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. Part 2 I know is out. I don't have that one yet. There's the live action Justice League. Not good. Then there's Zack Snyder's Justice League. Very good. Justice League The Flashpoint Paradox. I could also have put this with Flash, but it is listed as Justice League. Justice League Doom. Justice League versus the Fatal Five. Then there's Justice League War. And Justice League Dark. And Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. Justice League The New Frontier. Justice League versus Teen Titans. Justice League War World. Justice Society World War II. Super Friends, this is Volume 1. That was Season 1, Volume 1. And this was Super Friends Volume 2. Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass 2. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I've never seen this movie. I gotta check this out. I've heard bad things about it, but I just still want to check it out. DC Legion of Super Pets. Or League of Super Pets. Yeah, League of Super Pets. DC Legion of Superheroes. And moving out of the Justice League set, we have this Lone Ranger, which you can see I did actually pay $1 for. This is the first 8 episodes of the Lone Ranger series. It looks like garbage. I don't know if there's a better version out there of the series somewhere. It needs to be. Blu-ray 4K would be great because it's black and white. That's not bad. The Marvels. I like this a lot better than most of you. And next is Megamind. We got a couple of more movies that got out of order, guys. I'm terrible with this. And that is Kingsman: The Secret Service. Want to get on this side. Kingsman: The Secret Service and Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Then we have the Men in Black trilogy. The OG, of course, is amazing, but the other two movies are both really good. I really like all three of these movies. And then there's one I don't really care for so much. That is this one, Men in Black International. And we have next up, we have Meteor Man. Did I say man? Meteor Man, Robert Townsend. Here is Mirage Man. This one I found at the Dollar Tree. I'm not really sure exactly what this is. My daughter actually looked at it on the shelf the other day. She's like, "What is this?" It's a superhero movie. And she's, "You never seen it?" No. So we're gonna watch it together at some point and find out what the hell Mirage Man is. All right, and I do know what this is. Unfortunately, this is Morbius. It is terrible, but it is part of the superhero comic book movie collection now. Here, Stan Lee presents Mosaic. Something just fell. I'm gonna pick that up in a second. This is actually a pretty solid movie. This is the movie that fell, and I have no idea how good it is. It's Mutant Chronicles. This is another one I found at Big Lots. Just grabbed it for a couple bucks. Actually, I bought this movie twice. I bought it, and it sat on the shelf for about a few months, and I was in Big Lots, and I bought it again. And I've since traded the other one in, because I didn't even check the app, because I do keep track of movies on an app. Didn't even check. I was like, yay, that looks pretty good, and I grabbed it anyway. But Mystery Men, I do like Mystery Men. Really love Mystery Men, actually. Documentary here, Necessary Evil, supervillains of DC Comics. This one is based on a Japanese manga, but it's a Korean movie. This is Old Boy, one of my all-time favorite movies. Definitely my all-time favorite revenge movie, I think. This one falls under that superhero category here. It is the 2017 version of Power Rangers. I don't have any Power Rangers TV shows and all the other movies that have come out. That is the only thing I have, and I actually like that one. That was not bad. I hate most of the other Power Rangers stuff I've seen. I think I was just too old for it when it all came out. Here is the Punisher from the 80s with Dolph Lundgren. And then there is the Thomas Jane Punisher with John Travolta in the movie also. And then there's my favorite Punisher movie, which is Punisher Warzone. Need to get the Netflix series. I'm not even sure if that's on physical, but I do want to get that. Next is Red and Red 2. I know they put out a steelbook. I think it's 4K steelbook with both movies on it. I haven't gotten it. Not sure if I will, to be honest with you. Maybe if I come across it for a decent price. Here's Red Sonja, which there's 4K out of this, which I do want to get because this is just a DVD. And I've only seen bits and pieces of this movie, and that was like 30 years ago, so I need to give it a rewatch. More recently released, and one I haven't seen this one either, but this is an animated movie. This is Red Sonja, Queen of Plagues. It looks pretty good just from the front and even the story on the back. Like I said, I do need to check that one out. Next is Rendell. This is an Indonesian superhero movie. There's a whole series of Indonesian superhero movies. They've got their own universe going, and I've seen about 3 of them. I think this is the only one that I own. Next is a movie that is not superhero at all, but it is come from a graphic novel, and that is Road to Perdition's awesome movie. It's an awesome movie. Not superheroes at all. It's really more of a mafia movie, but it is one of Tom Hanks' most underrated movies, if you ask me. Robert Kirkman's Secret History of Comics. I just recently picked this up at a used bookstore. And of course, one of a lot of people's favorites, even though they don't equate it to being a comic book movie, it is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Awesome movie. Curious about getting 4K. I've heard some not so great things about it, so I don't know. I'm okay with the Blu-ray as it stands right now. Here is The Shadow. Back in the 80s and 90s, we were getting a lot of crappy superhero movies, and that one, it's fun, but it's not really good. Then there is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This was two-thirds really good, and then the last act I didn't care for. The Adventures of Captain Marvel. For younger folks, you may not have known this, but Shazam was actually called Captain Marvel originally. Years later, some lawsuits back and forth with Marvel and DC, and he is now known as Shazam, no longer known as Captain Marvel. This is a serial, I want to say from the 1940s. It might be the 50s, but I think it's the 1940s. And I haven't checked those out yet, so I do want to take a look at those. Something I watched in my childhood all the time was the TV series Shazam, and here's the complete series here, live action. He used to ride around in an RV, Billy Bats, and he would stand outside the RV and yell Shazam, and then transform and then do hero stuff. So I do want to revisit that. I haven't watched that in so many years. Here is the first Shazam movie that came out, when this very, very cool looking steelbook, at least in my opinion. And then there is an also solid, underrated Shazam Fury of the Gods. A lot of people don't like this movie, but I really enjoyed this one. There is Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. It's really female Tarzan is what this is. And this is odd. There's a Blu-ray out I do want to get, but this is odd because this is an 80s movie. It's rated PG, and we got Tanya Roberts here with 2 or 3 full-blown nude scenes in the movie. It's the 70s and the 80s. The 80s were different. That's all I'm going to say about that. Here is Michelle Yeoh appearing in the collection with Silverhawk. It's not the greatest movie, but it's fun. It's cool. She's a superhero, basically a Batman type, Batgirl type. You know, she rides a cool motorcycle, mild-mannered by day, superhero by night. Sin City. Of course, everybody knows that's a graphic novel. Not everybody, but most people. If you're watching this video, you probably know. So Sin City is awesome, awesome, awesome movie. The sequel, not as much, but I had fun with it. Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. Next is an underrated, I want to say underseen, because most people who have seen this movie seem to really like it, and that is Sky High. Next is a movie that a lot of people wouldn't know it was a superhero movie if you didn't tell them first, and this is Sleight. I know people want to read it Slate as Sleight as in sleight of hand, because he's a street magician, ha ha ha, but there is some other stuff going on there. Solid movie. Spawn, the OG movie, the OG live action movie I should see. I really hope that this gets a proper remake. Not a remake, a reboot, because this movie was okay. I like it better than a lot of people, but it's not great. But it pales in comparison to the HBO series that was put out, and here they go. Here's season 1, and these are all actually cut like movies, which means they're not broken up into episodes between, you have to stop between them. It's really, they play like a 2-hour movie, and that's season 1. Here is season 2 and season 3, which was the final season. They are a lot darker, a lot more somber in tone, much like the comic book, rather than that live action movie, even though I thought Michael Jai White was really good in the lead role. Here is Speed Racer. Very, very colorful movie. I'm not a huge fan of it, but people seem to have started to come around on it, so I might revisit it and see if I do the same. Spider-Man. This is the new animated series of Spider-Man. I actually picked this up for $1, so, and it is in really good shape. You can see here it's actually still sealed. I've seen this series, but not in some years. We want to revisit that soon, and we're just gonna continue on with the Spider-Man train. Here's Spider-Man trilogy, which of course Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, the Sam Raimi trilogy, as most people seem to know it right now. Spider-Man 2, awesome, awesome, awesome. Here is The Amazing Spider-Man, and you may have heard that. I think there's this rolling around here, and yeah, because for some reason it's 3 discs, and this is in a case that is only built for 2. I'm not exactly sure how that happened. It was okay. The Amazing Spider-Man, I didn't mind it. I just thought it was unnecessary. I actually hate this one, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Terrible. But anyway, We got the MCU versions of Spider-Man. Here we have Spider-Man Homecoming. And of course, Spider-Man Far From Home, the weakest of the bunch in my opinion. And Spider-Man No Way Home, the best of the bunch, which was the third. And then my two favorite Spider-Man movies of all time right here. Here's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which was awesome and held the top spot until the sequel came out, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and the sequel doesn't have a title or anything on it. But there's a title there on the spine, there's the back. I really like this steelbook. And here, next up is The Spirit. This Samuel L. Jackson, Eva Mendes. Of course, the Spirit is played by Gabriel Macht. And here is Stan Lee and Kevin Smith Save the World. And I included it here because of Stan Lee, of course, obviously, but it's really two documentaries, not a, three documentaries, I take it back, two stand-ups and a documentary. We have An Evening with Kevin Smith, which I'm not counting, An Evening with Kevin Smith 2, Evening Horror, and then we have Stan Lee's Mutant Monsters and Marvels, which is a documentary. Stan Lee's Mighty Seven. Steel, which is in plastic, but I have seen this movie. It's bad, but I've seen it and had to have it just because it's so bad. It's so bad, it's awesome. I gotta watch it again. This one is called Batman Assault on Arkham. I did not put it with the Batman movies because it really is a Suicide Squad movie, so I put it with those guys. And of course, that leads me to Suicide Squad, the extended cut. I like it more than most, but it's still not a great movie. And then of course there is The Suicide Squad, which I love. It is an awesome movie. And then there's one more animated movie here, Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. And then we move on to Supergirl. I heard we're getting a new Supergirl movie, so I'm kind of curious about that one. This one is another one that's so bad it's awesome. And then we're going to get into, of course, the next character that I have the most of, and of course that is Superman. And we start with this one, Max Fleischer's Superman. These are all the shorts from the early 1940s. This is 41 through 43. Then there's the New Adventures of Superman. I picked this up from, as you can see over here, Big Lots. It was about $7. I haven't opened it yet, but I probably have seen them all, but probably not in 20, 30 years, whenever it came out. And here is the Best of Superman, which has some episodes from a few different things on there. And then there's Superman, the Last Son of Krypton. Honestly, I need to watch that one. I don't think I've watched that one. And I haven't watched much of this either. Superman, the animated series, the complete animated series. Came out after Batman the Animated Series, but I really haven't watched much of that. Superman Unbound features Supergirl also in this movie. Good stuff right there. Superman Shazam, and the return of Black Adam. So we get two superheroes and a bad guy here actually. All-Star Superman, the Death and Return of Superman, Superman Doomsday, Injustice, which I guess technically is a Justice League movie, but they're out trying to stop Superman. I count it as a Superman movie. You can put it wherever you like. Superman Man of Tomorrow, and I think the new Superman movie was going to be this, and then they just dropped it, made it Superman. Well, it's going to be Legacy or something like that. Then they dropped it, made it Superman, and now the Supergirl movie is going to be Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I think that's how it goes. We'll see. Superman Red Sun. What if Superman was landed in Russia? He's a different cat. So kind of like Brightburn actually, where Superman is the villain. Reign of the Supermen. Superman versus the Elite. And of course, I've got to, another thing I had to grab with two hands, I've got to grab this. This is Superman 1978 to 1996. Nope, 2006. Sorry. It includes Superman the movie from 1978, Superman 2, Superman 3, and I'm just gonna go there, Superman 4, Quest for Peace, and of course Superman Returns in 2006. And I'm gonna give myself a little bitty bonus. It does have the Richard Donner cut. It has both Superman 2, the theatrical, and the Richard Donner cut. And I'm not going to give myself the bonus for that. The bonus is actually going to be because also on there is Superman versus the Mole Men, which was the first Superman movie, TV movie though. But I am going to count it. Next is Man of Steel, underrated. And let me know if there's a 4K to this, because I really actually want one, because this is a gorgeous looking superhero movie. Zack Snyder did this one also, and good movie, and I've got my issues with it, but I really did enjoy it. Remember, I talked about the 80s being a different time for movies. There's another PG rated movie that's got some nudity in it. That is Swamp Thing. Wes Craven directed that, for anybody who doesn't know, or if you're a horror fan. He's known for horror movies such as Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Hills Have Eyes. He's got lots of classics horror movies, and he's got the superhero movie, which has some horror elements, but it's pretty campy. The Return of Swamp Thing, which he had nothing to do with. I know there's a 4K out of this too, but I'm not sure if I have to get that one. If I do find it cheap, I probably will. This one is this is Jim Wynorski directed, so if you're familiar with him, you know he makes a lot of B movies and a lot of So Bad They're Awesome kind of movies. His most famous movie is probably now I'm drawing a blank, the one with the killer robots, Chopping Mall. That's the one. So that's probably his most famous movie. Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. Very fun movie, and even more fun in my opinion, Teen Titans Go to the movies. I like Teen Titans Go. I don't have any of the TV series on in my collection, but I do like that show. Some people really love it, some people really hate it. I'm probably in the really love it category. For some it's just too stupid, and I don't think they get it, but let's move on. Teen Titans, the Judas Contract. Excuse me, I almost said mutant something. But Teen Titans, the Judas Contract. And my guy Nick, this is his section right here. My guy Nick over at Movie AV Impulse. This is his section, of course, and some of you too. We got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the OG right there from the 90s. I think it was 1990. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. And here is Part 3, Turtles in Time. And then we had the animated TMNT. I think this came out around 2006 or so, something like that. Underrated though. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't really care much for this one. This was the one that Michael Bay produced, he didn't direct it. This was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 3D, as you can see here. I don't have a 3D player, so I'm never going to see that. And then there's the sequel to that, which was Out of Shadows. And this one, Out of the Shadows, this one was, that was pretty bad, actually. But what was really awesome was this one, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I saw this in the theaters last year and had a great time with this movie. It's still in plastic here. I haven't broken it out and watched it since I've bought it, but I did see it in theaters and loved it. We're going to move on to the next character, Thor, Tales of Asgard. Really solid movie there. And then of course there's the live action. There's Thor with our guy Chris Hemsworth. There's Thor the Dark World, the worst MCU movie in my opinion. Thor Ragnarok, the best Thor movie in my opinion. The only one of the 4 that I don't have on 4K though, so I gotta fix that at some point. And there's Thor Love and Thunder, which was awful. Actually, this might be worse than Thor the Dark World. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see next time I decide to rewatch and re-rank the MCU. Moving away from the MCU, we have Unbreakable. Unbreakable is an awesome movie. Not your traditional superhero movie, as that one is M. Night Shyamalan. Split was the movie that nobody knew was a sequel to Unbreakable. And then Glass, the finale to that little trilogy. And Glass was okay. I didn't hate it like a lot of people. I thought it was pretty decent. And moving on to the next one, which is V for Vendetta. Getting again, I don't know how I keep doing this stuff. Here we got a little bit out of order here. We got this set right here, and we're gonna cover up this side, which is 10 actually, with Bo Derek. That has nothing to do with comic books. This movie actually does have to do, we're gonna call Tarzan a superhero, and that's why I'm counting it. Tarzan the Ape Man. It's the only Tarzan movie I'll probably ever have in my collection. I've got some issues with that character, and not that this version of the character is any better, because it's a very racist character, guys. But anyway, this movie is just so bad and so campy that it's crazy. And I grew up watching this movie because I was kind of in love with Bo Derek as a little guy, and we get to see all of Bo Derek. Yeah, let's move on. Next up is Venom. I do not have Let There Be Carnage yet. I will be getting that movie. Venom, actually, I don't mind Venom. Venom was solid. I know some people hate it. I think it's retroactive hate, because when it came out, people liked it. But now they don't. But I don't hate it. But I didn't like Let There Be Carnage, which is why I'm not in a rush to get it, but I do want to get it. This is Vixen. Wanted. A lot of people don't understand it. This is a comic book property also, and of course it's known for curving bullets. There's Watchmen, the complete motion comic. Watchmen, the director's cut. See, we do get some lenticular action going there, so not much, but we got a little bit. Then there's Watchmen, the ultimate cut. I've never seen the ultimate cut. Actually, I've never seen the director's cut either. I've seen the theatrical cut, so I'm gonna watch these other two versions and see which I like best. I have definitely seen this. This is the Watchmen, the HBO series that came out a few years ago, and this is awesome stuff. Regina King is the main character in this show. I hope we get a second season. Actually, I don't, because they left it off. They did what they wanted to do, which was tell one season's worth of stories. If they do get a second season at some point, I'll be happy, but what they gave us was fantastic. Watchmen and the Tales of the Black Freighter. Then we move on into some Wolvie. We got Wolverine, Weapon X. This is a motion comic also. And another motion comic, Wolverine Origin. And speaking of Origin, we had to have this one. X-Men Origins Wolverine. Bad stuff. The Wolverine, which I actually like a lot. Yes, I get it. The third act, the big final battle is crap, but I like the movie. Logan, one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. This is just fantastic, and we get Wolverine fully unleashed as far as the violence part of it goes. Then we're gonna get back to Wolverine's team in a minute, but we've got to talk about the most iconic female superhero of all time, and that starts with Linda Carter starring as Wonder Woman, and this is the complete series. I grew up on this show and always had a thing for Linda Carter, but yes, this is an amazing campy superhero show from the 70s. I love it. This is part of the animated series. I need to get the animated series. This is Wonder Woman. DC Superheroes is under the title that it's under. So we have a couple of animated movies here. We have Wonder Woman. This is a commemorative edition. I think this came out in 2009, the original. This is just like a remastered version of it. Awesome animated. This is an origin story for Wonder Woman. And this one is the sequel to that, basically. Wonder Woman Bloodlines. Also very good. Then there's the Wonder Woman live action movie, another origin story. Excellent movie. One of my favorite DC movies also. And one of my least favorite DC movies, Wonder Woman 1984. Now we're gonna get back to Wolverine's team, and we've got some stuff here. We've got, this one is X-Men animated series, but this is not the 1997 original or 1992, whenever that one came out, something like that. This is not any other X-Men show. It's called the animated series, but this is really anime, and I'm just gonna kind of give you a close-up of the back here. I've not seen it, but I picked it up a few weeks back for a couple bucks, so I'm definitely curious to see that. The rest of the stuff I have seen, and that is X-Men, and we're gonna start here. These are some metal packs and steel books for the next few movies, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But yeah, X-Men, and then X-Men 2, X2, X-Men United, X-Men The Last Stand, aka X-Men 3, X-Men First Class. Again, some of these are steel books, and a couple of these are metal packs. And this is the last one. It's a steel book. X-Men Days of Future Past, awesome X-Men movie. And all 5 of those, I think it's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I walked into Best Buy one day back in the old days when Best Buy was selling physical media, and they had them all there on sale for $8 a piece. So I snatched up all 5 of those that day. They did not have, at the time, this was the only other movie to have, and they didn't have it, but I do have it on Blu-ray, and that's X-Men Apocalypse. I like it better than most people, but it's not particularly great. X-Men Dark Phoenix, The New Mutants, which is not labeled X-Men, but it is an X-Men movie. And we have a Japanese manga come to life here with Yo-Yo Girl Cop. And finally, the last movie, or the last item in my superhero slash comic book slash graphic novel slash manga collection slash comic strip collection, is from the character Zorro, and this one is The Legend of Zorro. I don't have Mask of Zorro, guys. I need to get Mask of Zorro. So we finally made it. I'm not sure what the count is. I wasn't keeping count in my head. In editing, when I put that counter in, I will see what that number is. Let me know, other than a few that I mentioned, what else am I missing that I really should absolutely positively have in the superhero collection. I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video, I mentioned Troy from Comic Book Movie Collector's Guide. His count is going to be triple mine. Whatever my count is, his was about triple. So go check out that video if you want to see some really obscure stuff. Roberto Nero, superhero, his count was, I think, I want to say about 100 or so. I'm just going off the top of my head. Higher than my count also. So another excellent video to see. And I look forward to anybody else out there who wants to do the same and show all of their superhero movies. That's all I have for you on this one, guys. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.